is, as you well know, my amazing wife and campaign extraordinary, Eliana Logan. Who, by the way, was her birthday 2 days ago. So it's been a campaign birthday kind of week. So I'll say a few words in a moment, but there's some really important people, you all are, but people that work directly within the system, I just want you to hear from really quickly as to really why we're here, their perspective as to why we're here. First, I'd like to call up Gerald Garden and Frank Williams really quickly to say a few words.
I'll speak for my agency and
Speak a little louder.
We've all been part of the Sheriff's No Violence Alliance program since its inception. We understand community services, we understand what reentry is, we understand the word you hear, restorative justice. Well, most of the people use the word as a catchphrase. He lives it. He provides us with all the support that we need to provide us programming in custody to help those who have been involved with the criminal justice system to re-enter with the chance to survive.
I've been in support of Ross Mirkarimi since the Reentry Council. So him even walking the streets over in the Western District, we wanted to have the officers also be on buses and be safe for the community. We wanted the campaign to have police and people patrol that end. I was a big supporter of that. And just working in the criminal justice system with somebody that really care about people, not being mechanical, not being robotic, but really care about the people is what got to me, and that's why I'm a big supporter of Ross Mirkarimi for sheriff. So vote for Ross Mirkarimi for sheriff!
I'm here because I've lived in San Francisco for 30 years, and I've seen how it's changed, and I know that Ross is one of the last true progressives left. He hasn't sold out, he hasn't compromised, he's done what he thought was right on every single turn. And that's something I can get behind, 100%. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Oh, thank you.
You want to stand by your nifty
This is a Rossmobile.
If there's an accident, I'm front page of the Chronicle.
Yeah, this is Sylvia from the Peninsula.
Speak louder to everybody.
This is Sylvia, came from the Peninsula to join us. She's a really activist and law enforcement and all that.
Speak a little louder.
And they are doing very well, okay, in Redwood City. Looks good. So they say, well, expand your horizon. Come to San Francisco. And let's work on this. Well, I know Ross since he was a supervisor 7 years, and I could only count on him to being an alliance of progressive forces with immigrants, especially immigrants, and transgender people, LGBT. And the thing is that when he came to being attacked, one thing that I knew, because they are my friends, as a matter of fact, personal friends, I knew that Ross didn't hit Eliana. And to this day, yesterday, people were talking about he's a wife beater. One of the things that I want to do is to clarify the record to say Ross did not beat anybody. He's not a wife beater. He doesn't beat prisoners in jail, which yesterday there was another charge made at him right here on 24th Street. When we were campaigning. So there is a lot of disinformation. One thing that we have to do, is to clear the record. And he's my candidate. I'm confident that he's going to get elected.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm confident. Sylvia, you want to say something? You have to speak loud. Nobody can hear.
But I wanted to support Ross Mirkarimi because, as you know now from Aurora, that I am from San Mateo County, and I live in Redwood City. We're doing well in terms of communication with law enforcement, but I don't want something that happened to Eliana and Ross Mirkarimi 2 years or 3 years ago happened in my county. And this is why I continue coming, because I really love the change that this city are experiencing with Ross as sheriff. So I really wanted to support him, telling my friends, my neighbors, everyone that gonna be able to vote for him, because we want to continue the great work that he is doing on the jails. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is from a veteran perspective, our friends from the vets. Just so you know, I learned this just recently. Of all the elected officials in San Francisco, I'm the last veteran, military veteran. There are no other elected officials, and somebody had to bring that to my attention, that I'm the last veteran that's elected, and they're like, that's unbelievable. The guy's politically left. Well.
Are you pumped, everyone? I'm Jim White, and I'm not here as the AFL-CIO Union Veterans Liaison. I am not here as the American Legion Judge Advocate. Can't be here for them either. But quietly behind the scenes, veterans at my old alumni city college are pumped up to get Ross reelected.
Yes.
It's that simple. We are the hardest group of people to convince if you're a candidate running for office. When we make our commitment, we stand by it, we put boots on the ground, and we get the vote out. And I'm asking all of you, raise your right hand and say, yeah, I'm going to show up and vote, and I'm going to at least get one.
I'm going to show up and vote and vote for Ross.
We're not going to return San Francisco, where I kissed my first gal over on the Navy base. Kid, I didn't know any better. And when a shore patrolman tried to arrest me, kissing my first girl, I began to think that we're not going to take our city back to make my day eras. We have come too far with the agencies you've heard about today, moving forward. Civic responsibility is what our sheriff stands for. Veterans love that. So on behalf of VIP, which is very important policies, you need to get the vote out. Sheriff, Ray and I, and all the veterans and members of the veteran family, anyone that served in your family, you are our family. We thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow.
All right.
Get the vote up.
Yeah.
We can see it. We see
Thank
it.
you. Well,
there's one more speaker.
who's that?
This man right here.
Oh, please come on in.
Hi.
Speak up loud.
I didn't plan on speaking today, but I feel it's necessary to say something. I was in the psych pod of jail, and I've been dealing with my mental health issues, my suicidality, and while I was in the psych pod, I decided to reach out to Sheriff Mirkarimi and write a letter. And I tell you, I ended up sending him 3 separate personal letters, and every single one I got a personal response from him. Now the impact on me is that it made me feel like my voice matters, that somebody cares. And that has had an enormous impact on my mental health, because it's what propels me and keeps me going and keeps me out of my trauma that leads to my suicidality. It's keeping me healthy to know that my voice matters, and to have an action by a sheriff who's very busy to personally respond to my letters speaks volumes to me. So Sheriff Mirkarimi, for re-election. Thank you guys.
Tammy, real quick, this is like testimony day.
So since we're letting people speak from the community, I just want to say that Sheriff Mirkarimi was my supervisor in District 5 for 7 years. And what we just heard is that he was always responsive. He always cared. When anybody in the community wrote to him and asked him about an issue that was pressing and important, he always responded. And we know right now that he is the most effective public safety officer in the country. So we're strongly supporting him, and I just want to say that he's the real deal, and we need everybody to go out there and tell all your friends, tell all your networks. We expect a low turnout election, but if we can high turnout the progressive vote, we will re-elect him, and it'll be a landslide. So we just need to get out there and
All right,
do it.
Tim. All right, yeah. All right, really an incredible engine that's keeping us moving forward, Ileana Lopez.
Thank you so much.
Hold yourself.
Thank you, all of you for being here. I just took a video to see how diverse is this group. And this is how we want to keep San Francisco, the diversity that we have that now is under threat. So I want to thank you. I am here, I am with Ross campaigning every day, talking in the streets, trying to set the record straight. It's a lot of misinformation out there. But I am here because I feel very personal about this campaign. I am in the streets talking because this is not only about Ross, this is also about my family, this is about justice, this is about democracy, this is our communities. So I want to thank all of you to take your Saturday to come here. Help us spread all the word. I live with him, I know how much he cares. And when in December he asked me, should I run? This is going to be tough. I said, of course you have to run. What is happening here is wrong. And I'm going to be here, and Theo is going to be here supporting you 100%. Because when I was one day in a parade, and an African-American transgender woman came running, and I was like, oh my gosh. She just came and screamed at Ross, 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 like it's her uncle. Ross, you know, I finished my high school. And I was like, oh, and Ross said, good for you, congratulations, what's next? And she was like, oh, I think I'm going to City College now. So that day I understood the impact that his work, that his personality is having in real people in the streets, changing their lives. So that day, that was really touching for me. And that day I say, I have to be here, campaigning with here, and helping him be reelected, because he, as Mike Hennessy told me, he brings humanity to a very oppressive system that is the criminal justice system. So, Ross, my friend, yes!
All right, so in the last 4 years, we've been through hell together, and we have not let any of those obstacles, any of those mistakes deter us whatsoever. And what we've been able to demonstrate over the last 3.5, 4 years since we ran for office to get here, vowing to carry on the Mike Hennessy legacy, which we have done effectively, and which we have done to make San Francisco an example, not just for the state of California, for the nation. Yeah. It's exactly what somebody, I think, should do when they preside over the industry of second chances. And it's important that we recognize, like in 2011, when I ran for sheriff in a very spirited race, we're going to improve public safety, but we're also going to recognize something that may sound a little un-sheriffy-like even to the people of San Francisco, and that is to recognize the power of redemption. And what that means is it sets a compass point. When you recognize the power of redemption, you then build a complete platform and a complete policy and a complete implementation plan to then deliver, not just to prove to the people of San Francisco, but to prove to everybody who recognizes that the criminal justice system in this country for the last 50 years has been such an abysmal failure that the way that you respond to it is not to perpetuate or propel or ignore that failure. You directly tackle that head on, and then you're able to prove that through our incredible education system, like in our jails, the Five Keys Charter High School, which just got awarded the Innovation American Government Award from Harvard University, a preeminent institution. It's not propaganda from us. It's not like something where I gave them money to give us this award. It's not where I had any relationship with them. They evaluated over 450 government institutions, and we ended up becoming the winner in the United States and the only law enforcement agency in the United States. And lo and behold, it's on page 10 of the Chronicle. Of course, if my socks are mismatched, it's on the front page above the fold in the Chronicle. But it doesn't begin or stop there. This is completely a reflection and a feature of everything that we're pushing. We're the first jail system in the United States to lower the visiting age from 18 to 16 years old. Why is that significant? Because I'm betting on the fact that not only are we so innovative and independent and trying to improve the lives of people that are in custody, that I'm going to take it and we're going to take it to the next generation, recognizing the impact of children of incarcerated parents, which in this country is over 52%, and to realize of the disconnect between those children and their incarcerated family. Well, we can be a more positive and constructive hinge that prepares people for reunification so that children are less likely to reoffend later on in their lives, as all studies have shown from the left and right. The first jail system in San Francisco to recognize the complete abuse and neglect of a transgender population that's incarcerated. Prisons and jails have been incredibly slow to recognize this very segregated, alienated population, and then to recognize, I think, their own civil rights, even in the criminal justice system. And you know what? I'm getting sued by our deputies because of this. And now they're trying to backtrack a little bit by suggesting, oh, we just want a more methodical plan. They have sued me when I tried to drop the age from 18 to 16 too, because there is a clique or there is a culture in law enforcement everywhere in this country, and San Francisco is no stranger to it, where they would like one of their own, where they would like people who are just maybe sprinkling a little bit of reform, a little bit of innovation, but we're not about mediocrity. What this campaign is about, my friends, is a little bit more than just retaining me as sheriff or who the next sheriff is. This is a response to a changing San Francisco. And I don't like completely where the direction San Francisco is going. This is a city that likes to celebrate its diversity, but we realize that what is being vanquished in San Francisco is its economic diversity. And if you are able to really capture where that is hitting home the most, well, that's going to be people that are implicated in the criminal justice system, who are trying to right their wrongs, who are trying to get out of the system and cope in a city that now happens to be the most cost prohibitive in the United States. What's our role in that complete equation? Forget about them and hope that they just fend for themselves? Or are we going to take our commitment to improving public safety that much further so that they find that ability to reintegrate, rehabilitate, and not return back? So I don't think it's any fluke that I preside over the most undercrowded jail system in the United States by over 52%. I don't think it's any fluke that in the age of state prisoner realignment, when Governor Brown and the High Court returned back prisoners because of the overcrowding and the failure of high recidivism rates on the state level to all 58 counties, and that practically corresponded with my entire time as sheriff, I don't think it's any fluke or any accident or any serendipity that our recidivism rates have dropped by nearly 40% during that same era. And that was in the face of critics. And that was in the face of critics in 2012 and 13 that said, we're going to go back to overcrowding conditions and crime is going to be completely exacerbated. And thanks to so many of you, some who've already spoken, others here that are in solidarity, you've been instrumental elements in the larger equation of showing how to reform the criminal justice system. And so I find it as complete validation when the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department imports our high school into their department. I took great pleasure and great privilege in order to sign that contract that takes our 5 Keys Charter High School, and now it's built into the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. And why is that significant? Well, if you're a Giants fan and you hate the Dodgers, this is why. Because you get to walk into the LA Sheriff's Department and you get to see San Francisco Sheriff's Department 5 Keys Charter High School, because I insisted they retain our name. And then, that's right. And Nick, my undersheriff's here. My number 2. And then, you know, and it's not just liberal counties that are adopting. Solano County is also now adopting what they see working and effective. And we're doing more than that. It's about also expanding our professional development. Our deputies have never been allowed to be on patrol. And on the law enforcement side, as Tammy has spoken and others, I'm a huge believer of community policing. So what we were able to do for the first time in the Sheriff's Department's history in San Francisco is I've now been able to certify our deputies for patrol. So if people want law enforcement to ride in uni because they feel unsafe, we can do that. If you want us to walk beats, we can do that. If you want us to patrol the 200 parks, we can do that. And we can be now satellite for federal agencies so that we can work in a more compassionate and humanitarian way, like with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And one last thing, when I was tested, and we were all tested by the horrible tragedy at Pier 14 when Ms. Steinle was killed, and what erupted was this just horrible demonizing of immigrants and undocumented people in this country, and San Francisco found itself in the epicenter because of the tragic death of Ms. Steinle at Pier 14. What I had to do was evaluate the laws that were before us. And I wasn't being cavalier, and I wasn't being political. It was a substantive response, and my response was completely couched in I think, and still to this day, in the right and accurate interpretation of the Constitution. I know Mayor Lee, and I know Senator Dianne Feinstein and Donald Trump all agree that they think that I should cherry pick who stays and who gets to go. Well, I don't believe in that kind of law. What I believe in is due process. If the National Security Agency was operating domestically and they want us to facilitate the handoff of somebody to their agencies, well, what I would require is a court order or something that is signed by a judge under judicial review. I'd require that of the FBI, I'd require that of the CIA if they were acting domestically, I'd require that of any federal agency. So the line and the ground that I took was about respecting the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. We'll have laws, but that is necessary for the moral integrity of a city like San Francisco. And on that, friends, thank you so much. Thank you so much.